Next week on Coronation Street, Nick Tilsley will receive news that's sure to shake things up, and it's not the relief anyone was hoping for. After months of manipulation and trauma, Rowan Cunliffe, the leader of the ominous cult known as the Institute, has been a constant source of chaos in Nick and Leanne's lives. His charm and cunning allowed him to sink his claws into Leanne, manipulating her into joining his so-called self-help group. At first, Rowan appeared as a harmless guide, but as we now know, his intentions were far more sinister. The cult leader expertly spun his web, using every tool at his disposal to control those around him. Everything shifted when Leanne, determined to find answers, stumbled across damning evidence on Rowan's computer. These weren't just ordinary files, they contained proof of Toya and Nick's affair, a shocking revelation that left everyone reeling. But that wasn't all. Hidden among the personal scandals, Leanne uncovered something even darker, evidence that Rowan had been blackmailing Nick and Toya. With this new information in hand, Nick did what anyone in his position would do. He took the notebook that detailed Rowan's criminal activity straight to DS Swain, a move that led to Rowan's arrest. At the time, it felt like a victory, the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. But now it seems the nightmare is far from over. In a twist that no one saw coming, Nick learns from the police that Rowan is pleading not guilty to the charges of blackmail and fraud. This decision means the case is headed to trial, extending the ordeal for everyone involved. It's a bitter blow for Nick, who had hoped that handing over the evidence would put this dark chapter to rest. But Rowan, always calculating, isn't backing down without a fight. For Nick, the stress of a looming trial is just one more burden in an already difficult situation, but the person most affected by this news may be Leanne. Leanne has been through hell, and while she may have discovered Rowan's secrets, the scars of his manipulation are still fresh. Rowan's influence over her was deep and insidious, and even now, she may still feel the pull of his control. How will she cope with the news that the trial is going ahead? And what if she's called to testify in court? It's one thing to stand by Nick's side in private, but speaking out publicly could force her to relive all the months of brainwashing and manipulation. The court trial will be more than just a legal battle. It could be a test of Leanne's resilience and her ability to break free from Rowan's psychological grip. Meanwhile, as Nick grapples with the ongoing legal drama, young Sam Blakeman is busy concocting a plan of his own. Sam has always been sensitive to the tensions between Nick and Leanne, and after witnessing Nick's flirtation with a customer, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Determined to reunite his father and Leanne, Sam prepares a romantic meal at the flat, a sweet but misguided attempt to patch up the fractured relationship. His heart is in the right place, but as we know, things rarely go smoothly in Coronation Street. Unfortunately, Sam's well-intentioned plan takes a dangerous turn. While trying to open some oysters as part of his romantic dinner, disaster strikes. He accidentally injures himself in the process. Panic ensues, and Sam has no choice but to call on Usher for help. She rushes him to the hospital, where he ends up needing stitches for his injury. It's a minor medical mishap, but for Sam, it's a huge deal. His grand plan to bring Nick and Leanne back together has fallen apart, and now he's in the hospital nursing an injury. You can imagine the look on Nick and Leanne's faces when they find out what Sam's been up to. But beyond the drama of oysters and hospital trips, there's a bigger question looming. How will Nick and Leanne react to Sam's attempts at playing matchmaker? Sam is desperate for things to go back to the way they were, and in his young mind, a romantic meal might just do the trick. But relationships are rarely that simple, especially with the dark cloud of Rowan's trial hanging over everything. Will Nick and Leanne see the humor in Sam's efforts? Or will this be the final straw that pushes them further apart? Next week's episodes of Coronation Street promise to be filled with tension, heartbreak, and a few unexpected twists. Rowan's upcoming trial is set to drag Nick and Leanne back into the turmoil they thought they'd left behind, and with Sam's ill-fated romantic dinner adding a touch of chaos to the mix, things are bound to get complicated. Rowan's not guilty plea might be the headline, but it's the emotional fallout that will truly test Nick, Leanne, and the people around them. Fans should brace themselves. This is going to be a bumpy ride.